Bam! That was for Miss G. She held herself so she wouldn't show a reaction. Good evening, everyone. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secrets: How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Queen G herself, Georgette Truman.
Stop it.
Miss Queen G, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Look, we have a very special guest, Miss Cheryl Cohn from the state of Florida.
She's beautiful. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, thank you.
How are you, honey?
I'm better than I was the last time I was on the show. Lots of things are happening.
Well, catch us up. What for those that didn't see the last show, give us a quick summary, and tell us what's going on now.
Okay, so I am fighting for my kids. I have two kids. I guess DCF took my kids from me because I went to jail. I went to jail because a DCF worker lied and made false claims that I hit somebody, and I was charged with a third-degree felony battery, and they took me to jail, and that was grounds for removal. Let's see, where do I start? Currently, I have just had my trial just a few days ago, and the judge has not ruled on it yet.
You know, before you continue, I want to mention something in California. You know, if you had that case in California, they'd probably do the same thing. However, they can only, in my humble opinion, only take your child away from you if you can't make plans or arrangements to have the child, taken care of by someone else. It's similar to those cases where the father is in jail, state prison, unrelated charges to child abuse, mother gets in trouble, loses the kid, and then they want to place the child in foster home.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the appellate cases in California, maybe in Florida, but in California say if dad can make arrangements for somebody else to take care of the child, then there's no basis for jurisdiction. In other words, you can't even really start a CPS case against him. Now, you could start the case against the mom, and that may bring the kid under the jurisdiction of the court, but it's unlikely that the court can take the kid away from the father if he wants grandma or next door neighbor or, Auntie Jane to take care of the child. Is that your understanding of what's going on in Florida?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't have any family or anybody available to take my kids when they arrested me.
No, Cheryl, you don't have any friends or family?
I do. However, for some reason, the people that run like the background checks and stuff like that, I guess it would be, okay, so DCF took my kids initially, then they turned my case over to Family First Network, which is an adoption agency, more or less, from the get.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Right. Very interesting. I never actually had a DCF caseworker. The only person I dealt with was that investigator who, like I said, lied to have me arrested. She was there because this girl who used to be involved with my ex was being petty and called them and lied to them, made false allegations against me. Prior to all of this, that day happening, my son was mourning the loss of his dad, and he kept wandering off, like leaving the yard and going to the neighbor's house. He was headed toward his dad's house, which was very close to where we were at. And I honestly believe that he was in denial of his dad's death. He was only 4 at the time. And so he kept doing that. Well, somebody had called the police when we were looking for him. He was right next door, like literally feet from me, but he was afraid he was going to get in trouble, so he didn't say nothing. He like hid in the neighbor's backyard jumping on the trampoline. And, well, long story short, we found him. I took him back to the house, and then all of a sudden the police come, and for whatever reason, they decided DCF needed to be involved, and were alleging that I was neglecting my kids, and I wasn't. There was people there too that lived in the house that also said I was not neglecting my children. So the first time she came, I asserted my rights, my constitutional rights and state constitutional rights here, and she had to leave on that basis. She was really trying really, really hard to get my kids that night, but her supervisor advised against it, and they left. A couple weeks later is when this girl called on me, and she came back with a vengeance and was going to take my kids no matter what she had to do. I feel like that's the case. So she would go as far as to lie and put false charges on me, and be the only person who wrote a statement. Not even the alleged victim herself wrote a statement, because I didn't do it. So fast forward to February, and I beat the criminal case. They didn't have enough evidence to convict, so they dropped it. Now, I had already signed a case plan, which I was told was the only way that I was going to ever have a chance to get my kids back, is if I did this case plan. I had no idea that I had a right to say no. I had no idea. They didn't tell me any of that. My own attorney didn't tell me that. So I was advised to sign the case plan, so I did, because I was willing to do whatever it took to get my babies back and fight the criminal case, which was very, very scary, because I've never been in trouble like that before.
Did you fight the criminal case, or is it still
I did.
going on?
I did. I spent all of my money that I had that was supposed to go toward getting my own place for me and my children. I had to spend it on legal counsel for the criminal case, because I was a mess. I didn't know what I was doing. So I sought out a lawyer that I had dealt with before, and it was a year, just shy of a year, before they actually dropped the case.
Okay, so it's dropped, and you're not no more criminal prosecution. How close to you getting the children back in the CPS case?
Well, because I signed a case plan, and then I went homeless because I had to spend the money on legal representation and not a place to live. And I've just been struggling this whole time. They started adding reasons to keep my kids. Like the original one was because I went to jail. Then it was and alleging abuse and neglect. And then it was because I was homeless. That was the reasoning. And then they're kind of like steady on the homeless thing, because I've had a really hard time finding shelter and things like that. I'm good now, at least for now. I have some really good friends that are helping me out. And I've been here pretty steady for a couple of weeks now, or closer to a month, actually. I'm working. I have a steady income. I got my driver's license back. So I don't owe Florida any more money for anything, because I had fines from the past. Went through a bitter custody battle with my ex, and I got charges, and like I didn't know my rights then. I mean, I don't know everything, but I've learned quite a bit since all of this has been going on, trying to protect myself.
When's your next court date?
They have a judicial review in October. So
They have a judicial review in October.
yeah.
And is that going to be your 6-month or 12-month date?
I've been in the system. This has been going on since February of 22. So we had trial just the other day on the 27th. And like I said, the judge hasn't ruled yet. I'm asking for more time.
How about asking for the kids to be returned?
I mean, that's obviously my first choice.
Right.
So she said she's getting with her team to review the whole entire case. I know that based on the paperwork, or like all of the, case notes and stuff, that the caseworkers have, done over the course of this whole case, the things that they were saying on paper were different from when they were on the stand. So I'm pretty sure that I was right from the beginning that this is not a normal CPS case. Like, there was so many lies that were told from the get and have been told throughout the case on me. And I was happy the judge they put me on the stand, because I have, I had to tell my side of the story, because that paperwork makes me look like a monster.
Yep.
Yeah. They even falsified statements from my family members that claim they never made those statements to them. I had two people that testified. I don't necessarily know if it was on my behalf, but it seemed to be that way. My mom testified, and so did the foster mom, which is really my kid's aunt. So,
one of the things that you should do if you don't get the children back is you should consider filing an appeal. You should talk to your attorney about that, right?
okay, yeah, she's awful. I even wrote a review on her. She's never given me any hope. She's never fought for me or my constitutional rights. I have not changed or wavered from, what I believe is right and what the law states is right, and how they've handled this whole case on the other side. I mean, I don't know what else to do but defend myself and my rights and my children's rights. And like, this whole entire mess was someone being petty and a caseworker being disgruntled. Like, they've turned my entire life upside down, and my children's. My kids want more than anything to be with me. We talk one or two times a week, usually. I wish it would be more, but like, I'm very busy working, and I have odd hours at my job. Some days I work days, some days I work nights. It's just how it goes. So I try to keep in contact with them. They're claiming that I've abandoned my children, but they took my children out of state. They took my children out of state before the agreed upon time. My son, they separated my kids right from the get, and one child went down South Florida, and he was there for like 8 or 9 months, and I could only see him on a Zoom call once or twice a week, I believe, which half the time the people at this place where they took him never even showed up. Like, I was always upset about that. I regularly had my visits with my daughter every single week. I paid for everything I could for my children. I mean, yes, I was homeless, but I wasn't broke. I mean, I made money. I work. I have to work. I have to stay busy, because if I don't, I lose it. Emotionally, I lose it, and I can't function that way. So I try to keep myself as busy as possible at all times. And that's just how it's been, because my kids and I were together 24/7 from birth, pretty much, other than my son fighting with his dad. But my daughter she's very upset about all of it. She doesn't want to miss me anymore, she said.
How old are the children?
4 and 5. And my boy is 5 and my daughter is 4.
Do you get along with the caretaker aunt?
Yes, I do. Yes. And she had very nice things to say about me in court. She's always kind of been on more on my side, I guess. I don't know that I have a side, but like, she's been pro me getting my kids back. And now they're just trying to make that impossible. And they've asked her, would she be willing to adopt? And I mean, worst case scenario, of course, I want my kids in my life no matter what. Even the caseworker had nice things to say about me on the stand, but they're still saying that I'm like unfit. And I might not be rich. I might have a mental illness. which does not affect my children. I've never hurt a child because I have PTSD. It's unrelated to parenting, so my children don't trigger me like others have. I've got pretty good control over all that anyway. I've been to therapy. There's just a couple things on my case plan that I was not able to complete. Everything I've done and gotten up to this point, I had to do myself. I never had any help. They never made any referrals for services. Finally, the caseworker admitted that on the stand. However, in all the notes that she's written, she claims that she offered me services and offered me help, and she never did. So none of this was ran the way it was supposed to be.
Okay.
I pretty much been on my own, was told sink or swim. And I was robbed a bunch of times. Bad things happened to me when I didn't have a place to stay a couple of times. I'm traumatized from that, from the last year and a half of my life alone. So there's more therapy I get to do, more healing I have to do, and all in the name of what? I didn't do anything wrong. I struggled. I was a single mom. My ex had just passed away. So we had 50-50 custody with my son. So he would get him a week, I would have him a week. And I didn't realize until he was gone just how important that was. I mean, we always fought about, time and all that, time sharing. We always had problems there at the end. But when he passed away and I didn't have anybody and I had to do it 24/7, it was hard, but I did it. And my children were happy and healthy and loved and taken care of, fed, all of that. I just didn't have money to buy them all the expensive things, I guess. I don't really know why they judge me like that. Like, they look down on me because I am homeless. Well, I was homeless because I spent all my money on legal counsel that I shouldn't have had to spend because I didn't commit a crime that I was accused of. So it's hard to wrap my head around the whole thing. It really is.
What part of Florida are you in?
Northwest Florida, Oakland County.
Is that the Panhandle?
Yes.
Is that where your nephew or is an attorney, Florida? Nephew or somebody, Mr. Davis?
Oh.
No, Attorney Davis, can you hear me?
I can't. I can barely hear you, Miss G.
Oh dear. Can you hear me now?
Oh, much better.
Okay. So don't you know some attorney is there some attorney in Florida that's related to you?
Washington, D.C.
Ah, never mind. Washington D.C. Okay. I just don't understand what you did wrong, Cheryl. I honestly
Me
don't know
neither.
what you done wrong. How old was your son when he was acting up?
4. He was 4, and he was grieving the loss of his dad. He had a real hard time with that. I had a hard time with it, and we basically hated each other before he passed away. So I can only understand what my kid was going through. It was hard on him, and he didn't know how to process all of that. So
Kids at that age, they handle just because he was acting up, it doesn't mean you were abusing him.
correct.
Still don't understand.
My daughter was perfect. She's still perfect. Everybody says that. Everybody was in agreement with that. So why did only one child have problems and not the other? They have different dads. And my daughter's dad's never really been a part of her life. Like, he has been, but yeah, she wasn't interested in all that. But she didn't lose her daddy. He did. And he's still upset about it, but he's doing a lot better now. So.
And how old is he now?
He's 5. He just started kindergarten today.
So basically 5 years, that happened 5 years ago.
No, this happened.
I'm sorry. That happened at age 4, so a year ago. I apologize. A year ago.
Yes. He was barely 4 when it all went down. So.
And Davis, does this make? I mean, it should make sense to you, but what would you tell her to do? I mean, that doesn't make sense. That she should not lose her parental rights. She didn't do anything. Poverty is not a reason to lose parental rights. What they should do with the funding, the federal funding, is help you with it. That's what
Yeah.
should be done, is to help you with it, not give the money to them and foster homes and all this, and leave the mother behind, because being homeless is not, it's not a reason to steal your children. Am I right, Davis?
I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
It's actually against the law here. So
What's against the law? Being homeless?
they can't, it's against the, yeah. No, not being homeless, but taking my kids because I ended up homeless. I wouldn't have ever even been homeless had they not removed my kids and put me in jail. So it's actually their fault too that I was ever homeless.
Why did they put you in jail? I don't understand.
Um,
Because your son?
I was I was accused of abuse, neglect, and hitting the girl who called them, but I didn't do any of that. So
What proof do they have that this was done?
none.
Okay, what does your attorney say? What?
She's just all about, well, you signed a case plan and you didn't finish case plan, so now they're going to try to terminate your parental rights. And I said, well, I should have never had a case plan to begin with. But now that she was like, well, oh, well, you signed it, so you're stuck with it.
Do you hear that, everyone?
That's
She signed the case plan.
that's what she tells me, basically. She doesn't like give me any hope. She barely said anything that I told her to say, say in court at the many court hearings that we've been to. She's never really been pro me winning this case. It seems like she knew it was going to be a loss from the get. The caseworkers have done nothing but talk about adoption, never reunification. They never took any steps toward helping me complete the case plan. And it's their job.
Wow.
All they ever wanted me to do was give them UAs. And to this day, I have not given a UA to them.
Is there a reason why?
Because they gave, I had, when I was fighting my ex for custody, he kept calling DCF on me making all these allegations against me, and they were always unsubstantiated, except for one time. I knew I wasn't using drugs, so I wasn't doing anything wrong. I went ahead and gave the social worker that came, or the investigator, a UA, and it popped positive. Well, the psych med that I was taking at the time is known to make that happen, cause false positives. So they put me on non-judicial services, which meant I could keep my kids, and we weren't going to court over it. It was all just in the department, basically, and FFN handled that as well. So I was already familiar with the caseworker that is now a supervisor / caseworker, because the caseworker that was assigned to my case, she was her supervisor, but then she left and now she's my caseworker again. It's very strange, the whole process. Like, it's nothing I've ever been through before, and I've been in the system and dealing with these people for many years. So
Let me get a timeout. Cheryl, I asked you a question and you told me a story.
I'm sorry. There's so much. There's just so much.
No. I just want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Simple question. Are you testing?
No.
Okay. Now, did the judge order you to test?
She did, and I refused.
Okay, stop.
So
So I want to make something very clear to you.
mhm.
Okay? The way your case is right now, okay, right now, not at the beginning, right now, if the judge ordered you to do UAs and you didn't appeal it and win the appeal, you have to do UAs to get your kids back.
I understand that. And,
Okay, and now,
yeah.
so I
But
mean,
there's a
if you
reason
don't-
why. I mean, they gave me a faulty
there's
test.
not. No, there's not. Well,
Well, I mean,
There's no
I went and took a drug test on my own,
Well, wait,
but
hold on a second.
I refused
Hold
to
on.
take it with this caseworker because they are known to give altered tests to people to cause false positives. I've had a few friends that lost their kids and their parental rights forever because right at the end of their case, they were given a UA, and the UA popped positive. And it happened to be for the same drug that they were allegedly doing, even though they passed all the other tests. That very last one was positive all of a sudden. And I know personally one of those people was the father of my dad, and he wasn't using because I was living with him. And as far as I knew, he would have been very sneaky to use drugs, but he swears he didn't use drugs. But yet he lost all his rights because he had a positive test. Now, I was willing to go to a lab and take a test, and that's what I did. I paid for it out of my pocket. And I did that, and I turned in the results, which were negative on every substance. I just refused to take the test with FFN because I don't trust them.
How's that
I
strategy?
did try, but I could never go. I could never pee in their cup.
Hold on
It just didn't happen.
Hold on a second. Let me mute you for a second. You know what, Miss G? She's doing the same thing you do to me sometimes. I'm trying to make a point.
Wait, to you?
Yeah. I'm trying to make a point, and you guys just talk over me. I'm not going to be able to make the point. So I got to mute you guys. Now I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to make my point.
He does that to me. Cheryl, he does it.
Now, Cheryl,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't get your children back, one of the big reasons will be because you didn't do the UAs. Now, you could tell me all you want about it's unfair, it's fixed, it's blah, 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 blah. But when you're facing termination of your parental rights or your kids get adopted, all that principle you're standing on, it means nothing. I tell people all the time, and some people don't like it. And I can tell you probably don't like it. There's a way to win in these cases. Okay? And it's not doing what you want to do, not doing what you think is right or you think is fair. That's not how
I did try to take their tests. I did.
Pardon me.
In the beginning, I did everything. Then I lost a phone for a couple of months, and I lost.
You see what I mean, Miss G? You guys just talk over me.
I do
Okay.
that.
You see that? So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because
do that,
maybe you will realize what you do to me. Okay?
Oh,
I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to tell you something and you're not listening.
Yeah, but you do, oh my God, if I just tell them what you do to me, never
Cheryl,
mind. Oh,
Cheryl, let me finish my thought, okay? And just
Mhm.
because I take a breath doesn't mean I'm finished, okay? All right. You got to do the UAs, or you have to have a substitute. And the substitute could be like a hair follicle.
Mhm.
A substitute could be you doing UAs twice a week and you paying for them and subpoenaing that person in the court. But you got to do the UAs or you got to do the substitute. If you don't do either, the way the law is written, at least in California, and I'm going to guess it's written like this in Florida, you're going to lose. Now, would you rather be right or would you rather win? Tell me what your answer is.
win.
I would.
Win.
Well, I never did any
No.
of it to begin with, so
See, Miss G?
it's just really hard because like they sabotaged me.
Okay.
And everything and everything that I am and who I am and
Stop.
defamation. I mean, it's just such a horrible thing they did to me.
Okay.
I wasn't guilty to begin with. I mean,
Miss G?
I attempted to
Hold
do
on,
what they wanted me
mute her
to.
again.
Yeah.
Miss G, do you see the problem?
No, I don't.
Okay.
She's frustrated. She's frustrated.
That's not an excuse.
That is an excuse.
Okay.
That is a valid excuse. Let me tell you why. Because her children.
Let's have her back when she loses her parental rights and then see how valid that is.
No, I get that part, but she's frustrated. She's not an attorney. She doesn't know what she's facing. She's never done this. She's never gone through this before. So my heart goes out to her because I know how she feels like.
Okay.
I know what's going on with her, but You need to literally, I mean, Cheryl, and I can't emphasize that enough to you. I learned the hard way in life. No
Cheryl,
matter what you think
Miss
is right, is
G,
not.
Miss G went through a CPS case, and it ended horribly. A few years goes by, we go to family law court
Mhm.
so she can get back with her daughters. Before we went back, she took several years to understand what she had to do. It was almost like I had to beg her to win her case.
No, you didn't beg me. All you said is leave your ego at home and bring your ass to court. That's
Right.
what you said without my ego.
Right.
That's
I
all
did
you
say
said.
that. I said that in other
Yeah.
things.
And
Now,
then he said, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to walk out the room and you can represent yourself. So I listened to him. And once I listened to him, things were going great because he believed in my case. He believed that the fact that, hey, she's innocent. She literally was trapped around the system, just like you. So he knew, he understood. So he
now,
wanted me to leave that ego, wanting to be right. I want justification. I want this and that. It didn't work. It didn't
Cheryl,
get me anywhere.
here's something that Miss G has that you don't have. Her kids were given to the father, okay? So they couldn't terminate her rights. Your kids are with some foster parent and they can terminate your
They're
rights. So you
technically it
don't,
was family,
Family,
yeah,
but
still.
not
they're foster
not
parent.
my family.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
foster
they
parent.
yeah.
Okay. So they can terminate your rights and you won't have 3 or 4 years to listen to me to get your head on straight to get your kids back. It's just going to be over. And then you're going to be calling me and telling Miss G how unfair this is. And it is
It is
unfair.
very
It
unfair.
is.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. Now, since we all agree, now what? You want your kids back?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I
Then
do.
you should be following, your attorney's advice or following my advice and figuring it out. Talk to your attorney. Watch my videos on YouTube.
I do.
Okay. Now, I want to tell you something. One of the most important guests I've ever had on this show in terms of attorney authority, a couple of them are going to be at our seminar on Saturday.
Oh,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there too.
Yep.
Okay.
I
Good.
believe so.
There's an attorney who's from California. He's from LA. He's a drug testing expert.
Please.
Right? He used to be an attorney and then he became an expert. And now it's like this. He's an expert. He rarely practices law. He just testifies as an expert. And some of the things that he told us on my show, I didn't know. And when I've talked to other experienced attorneys that do this kind of stuff, they didn't know. I mean, some of the stuff I've used in court cases since then, and the judges kind of look at me like, that makes sense, but that's not how we've been doing it. So I can tell some of the things you said, there's issues regarding testing. Hopefully you can listen to Okori Okorocha on Saturday and you can learn something, or you can hopefully he's going to be able to stick around and do a Q&A for people. Okay. There's a guy from New York. I can't pronounce his last name. His first name is Michael. One of the best CPS attorneys I've ever talked to in the whole country. There's a guy named Art Lasalento from Southern California who's going to be on the show. One of the best. One of the best. There's a guy, a gal. What's her name? The gal is she from Michigan? Who's going to be on the show?
Oh, uh, uh, Kevin Seaver.
No,
Seaver.
Kevin is man. Kevin is one of the gurus from Massachusetts, and he's going to be on
Okay.
the show. Very well
Michael.
known,
Michael.
very well known attorney.
Mhm.
Um,
Michael.
so if you can pop in, one of the good thing about the seminar is going to be packed with information from experts. You're just not going to be hearing it from me. You're going to be hearing it from other people, men and women from across the country. The bad thing about it is it starts at 9 and I think it ends at 4:30 or something. It's like an all-day event. If you buy a pass, you'll see that. There's a certain pass you can buy, though, that will give you access to the videotape of the entire seminar forever. I forget how much it costs. It's more, but it will be invaluable because some of the things that these people are going to tell you are going to be invaluable to winning your CPS case or helping that relative in their CPS case. Because these people are truly experts. You know, you hear me and see me all the time, and you know, sometimes I say crazy things, and you know, do we even believe what Davis is saying? But you're going to hear things from other people other than Davis. Okay, and our mistress of ceremonies is the Queen herself, Queen G. Queen G will be the mistress of ceremonies and running the whole thing.
Yesterday he called me Queen Bee, but you know.
I was referring to
Stand
Beyonce.
for-
I got it
No.
kind of confused.
I don't look like Beyonce, but you know, for you to say we could only wonder what the B stands for.
It was Beyonce. What did you think it
Right,
stood
there's
for?
a whole. Oh, I have an idea. Starts
Okay.
with a BI.
No, you know, I would never refer to you as that. Okay, Cheryl, I want to get back to you. Listen, here are 3 things you need to do. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Things. You don't have to write them down. They're going to be on this video forever on one of these social media platforms we're broadcasting live to right now. Number 1, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not playing, I'm not talking any bullshit. I really sincerely mean this. You got to get your head on straight. You have to focus on the success for this case. You want to win. You don't want to be right. Okay?
That's a tough question.
I know.
I kind of want both.
It's hard. It's hard. You can't have both. Listen.
Well, I am right, but I do want to win. So
Look, my grandmother raised me. I don't know if you know that. My paternal grandparents raised me. One of the reasons why I feel so strongly about these kids being placed with relatives. She died at 102 years old.
wow.
102. She used to tell me all the time, never get mad, get even. I didn't understand the significance of that until I was about 45 years old. Now, I'm looking at you, you're probably not even 40 yet.
I'm 44.
Okay, so you got another year. All right. But I want you to start thinking about that. Okay? Never get mad, get even. Get your kids back, and if you have a claim for civil rights, talk to a lawyer and sue these people.
I'm definitely looking into lawyers.
You know, if you can prove that a social worker lied in the report, and some of the things you told me at the beginning, they did lie, apparently, you know. They lied on you to help win the case, their case. You can sue them for that.
I'm going to.
That's a violation of your civil rights.
From the get, yeah.
So, you know, never get mad, get even, get your kids back, get them home. Don't worry about being right or standing on the pulpit right now. To be honest with you, the judge probably not even interested about whether your civil rights were violated. He's or she is only interested in the protection of these children, what they perceive to be the protection. Okay?
Yeah, and they've got plenty of proof that says that they're plenty safe with me. It's like she's on the fence because no, I didn't complete the case plan, but there was, you know, circumstances which kept me from being able to do that in the allotted time that they gave me. So
you can win without completing the case plan, but it's a low probability play. Have you ever been to Las Vegas or a casino? You have? Have you ever played blackjack? Yeah. Okay. So now you have your last $10,000 betting on a hand. You look down and you have a king and a 10. You have 20. You look at the dealer's card. His 1-up card is a 5. Now, dealer says to you, hey, Cheryl, do you want to hit? What do you say?
No.
Okay. Now, most people will get that answer right and say no. But most people won't give me the answer to this question. Why wouldn't you take a hit?
Because I'm already at 20. And
And there are 4 aces in every deck.
mhm.
You could hit 21.
Good.
I
Yeah.
can hit 21.
Now,
I
you know
play
the
it safe.
right. Okay, but here's the answer. So I now know that you're not a professional blackjack player.
No, I'm
Here's,
not.
here's the answer. The answer is you wouldn't take a hit because there's a 96% chance that you'll lose if you take a hit.
Mhm.
So, do you want to go for the 4% hero play, or do you want to stick with the solid 96% regarding your $10,000? Which one do you want?
Um, well, I mean, I could take a chance, but there's like,
You got a
there's,
4% chance. You got a 4% chance of
if I had 10
getting
grand
through.
to just throw away, I'd totally,
No,
play it.
I told you it was your last 10,000.
Oh, okay. Well, see, then I probably wouldn't because I'm practical and
Okay.
responsible. So
You're practical and
generally,
responsible.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not acting like that in this case.
I mean, I don't know
Because
what I'm doing most of
you're
it.
going for the 4% hero win. You want to be the hero. And you're not going for the
Mm. I
96%.
just want my rights. I just want to live and be left alone because I didn't do nothing to begin with to
I
deserve
sure,
any of this.
I sure
And
hope the
neither did my
judge
kids.
I sure hope the judge gives you these kids back.
I sure hope so too. They are my life. And I'm a
But
good mom. Even the caseworker was up there on the stand saying that I'm a good mom, and none of them are recommending that I'm don't remain in their life, just that my kids are adopted. It just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. They
look what
have nothing
Hosh
bad to say for real about me.
look
It's
what Ho,
different on paper, but when they were on the stand, they all said something different.
look what Hoshe the DTF Slayer says. Look what 3C's mama says.
I don't know what that is.
It
Oh,
says
I can't see that.
start you can't see start testing the
Oh,
96% way.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the judge had, she didn't even rule this time for me to take tests, or the last time, or the time before that, because I've been adamant about not trusting the caseworker.
Okay.
And I was willing to go and take my own at a lab, which I did, but I couldn't afford to just like do it every day or,
Right.
even every week. It's very expensive.
Right. Okay.
And you know what's look, guys, let me explain something to some of you out there saying that she's not listening to you, Davis, because she can't shut up. That was a very rude comment, and I don't appreciate that. Because you're a mother and you know how it feels like not being with your babies. It's not cool. That was very rude and uncalled for. Now, I can't believe she even said that. Now, as for Stacy, Cheryl,
Cheryl Cone.
see, look, Deidre, I know it's you, and it's really not right for you to say that on live shows about our guest. So please keep your nasty comments to yourself. Cheryl, I know you're going through a hard time, and I understand that. And being homeless, losing your ex, even though he was not cool to you, but still he was at least there in presence. His presence was there for your children and you. And I understand that you, without your children, just like your heart is missing from your body, your heart is disconnected.
It is.
Disconnected. Um, I am so sorry that nobody seems to understand what you're going through. I'm so sorry. because there's a lot of scumbags out there that's forgetting, that there's humans out there. I truly apologize for this type of woman's behavior, her comments. Okay. Um, I want to explain something. When I was going through my case, I was just emotional as you because I didn't understand the judge. I didn't understand what they were saying. I didn't understand the justification of their actions, right? When I first started, I used to think it just, oh, my ex-husband is doing his connection, all that. I used to think that all the time until I worked with David, because Davis used to laugh at me when I tell him it's because of his stuff, because of that. And he's like, "You think you're the only one going through this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am the only one going through this." It's not until I worked with him I realized that indeed there's a lot of victims out there. Don't take me wrong. There are some mothers out there that I don't think they should have their children. Period. I'm being honest. Okay. And some of them are
I
watching
agree.
the show. Okay. Or one of them is. But but that's neither here or there. But you are a victim of what they're doing to you and your children. So what Davis was trying to say is put your feelings aside, put your emotions aside, you know. And then if you want to go in your room and scream at night and hit the wall, let it be in it between just between you and yourself. That's it. Don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you weakened. Don't let them see you with any emotion. Don't even smile, roll your eyes, have a joker face. Nothing. You have to have a poker face, actually. A poker face is how you win. I don't know how to play cards, but that's what my mom and dad taught me. A poker face is how you win. No smile, poker face, nothing. Because once they see emotions, that means they have control over you. And now they're just going to keep poking at you, poking at you, poking at you. Okay? So, with that being said, all Davis was trying to say is that in order for you to win, you have to listen more and talk less. That's
Yes, ma'am.
basically his
I
advice,
understand.
even to me. When he told me to leave my ego at home, I wanted to like put him on a timeout. But then I bit my tongue and I said, you know what? Listen to this man because my strategy got me nowhere. Right? As soon as I listened to him, now I fight with clients telling them to listen to him. I'm like, dude, you don't know what I've been through. When I started listening to him, I got results. When I didn't listen to him, but no, this is not for work related, Vincent. This is for court related only. This is how I found out. When I
Sure.
don't listen to him in my court case, then I don't get results.
Cheryl,
Okay?
all joking aside, Cheryl, let me tell you
Yeah.
something.
Seriously.
Okay.
You're a sweetheart.
I've been doing this over 30 years, these types of cases, 34 years. I've seen a lot. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a lot. But I've seen so much that I can tell from talking to people which way their case is probably going to go. Okay. One of my hardest things to do is to convince someone to follow my advice. Because the normal knee jerk reaction is not to follow my advice. This happened today. It happened 2 times yesterday. It happens to me all the time. But what you don't have and what people don't have is the luxury Miss G had just by the luck of the draw. Her kids were given to her husband. She couldn't lose her kids. And she could always go back to family law court to get them back, you know, get back in the game. So it's frustrating to me, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make people see what I'm telling them is probably the 96% high probability play. Because, you know, you have lived this case for a few years now. Okay. We talked once. This is the second time we ever talked. I've never reviewed your file.
Mhm.
And so I don't have the real credibility with you for you to think that I know what I'm talking about. But there's only a few things in my life that I'm an expert at. This is one of them. So I give advice, and now it's people can follow the advice, or they don't have to follow the advice. When I was a young attorney, 10-year attorney, I used to get mad when clients didn't follow my advice. Really, I would get mad. Now I don't get mad. Okay, I've kind of developed and matured that way, but when I give people advice and they don't follow it, I can see what's going to happen 90%, 96% of the time. So think about what I've said tonight about what you have to do. I saw something on a movie the other day on Netflix, and the guy was facing a very hard decision. And one of his friends was trying to tell him, you should do this. And the guy was saying, I don't want to do that. That's basically not who I am. And the guy said to him, ain't nothing but a thing. It ain't nothing but a thing. Do your case, win your case, get your children back. And if you want, go across the street or down the corner and around the block to the federal courthouse and file a civil rights case.
Yeah,
Then you
that's
get
my
paid
plan.
then you get paid to be right.
Hmm.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, fight for my rights. Yeah, I shouldn't have to. I should have them anyway, but they took them from me.
Have you ever seen anything unfair in life?
On what? I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen anything unfair in life?
Oh yeah, lots of stuff
Right.
every day.
Right. So somebody once told me it's not the fact that you were treated unfairly. The important thing is, what are you going to do about it?
I'm gonna hold them accountable.
Okay. Got to get the kids back first. Right. Okay. Hey, we've come to the end of the show. We're actually past time right now. Cheryl, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Please keep me and Miss G updated
Okay.
to what's going on in your case. And I really want to know if you won. Okay, if you were able to stand your ground, not do the entire case plan, and if you won. Okay. I really want to know that. I hope you do. I really hope you do.
Is a possibility? I mean, it's not that I wasn't willing to do case plan. It's just things happened and I didn't get it done in time. Um, do you know of any situation where something like this was overturned? I absolutely know the judge can do that. It's within her power
Oh, yeah.
to dismiss it and
Yeah.
throw it out, basically, which is what I'm praying for, honestly, so I can get on with my life and my children. But I don't know how that's going to go.
Right. The judge can do it. Absolutely. We give judges a lot of power and discretion. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the way it is. Okay. So thank you again, Cheryl. Keep in
Okay,
touch. Keep us posted. And
I
good luck.
will.
And God bless.
Cheryl, do
All
you
right.
have my number by any chance? Do you have my direct number?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, can you just get it from Grace and just
I
text me?
can.
Yeah, get
Yep.
it from Grace and text me at that number. And
Okay.
just remind me you're on the show today, okay? And
Okay.
I will talk to you privately, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much. You guys
You
have
are
a blessed night.
You
you
too.
too.
Bye bye.
God bless you, sweetheart.
All right, Miss Queen G. I enjoyed talking to her.
You
I
enjoyed
really,
talking to her?
yeah. I really hope that the judge gives her a ruling in her favor.
I hope so too. She seems like she's very naive and very sweet. She seems like a loving mother to me. Um, I just hope she wins, and I am going to talk to her.
Good. Good. Good.
I'm
Good.
gonna educate her. I'm gonna
All
educate
right.
her.
Well, Miss G,
I love you, Mark. Oh,
Queen G, thank you very much for being a co-host of the show tonight. We
Mhm.
will be on tomorrow, everyone, at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I want to wish everyone a good night, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.